Your brain spins up a private world every night, a quiet simulator that borrows pieces of your day and weaves them into something that feels real enough to move your heart. We are going to tour that world with care, separating what we truly know from what is still a beautiful guess, and we will leave you with simple ways to remember more and suffer less. Think of this as science before sleep, gentle and useful. Start with a feeling you know well. You wake in the dark and the room is the same, yet your pulse races because the dream still holds you by the collar. That grip is the first clue that dreams are not throwaway static. The sleeping brain is running a rehearsal that can shape how you meet tomorrow. We will replace fear with a sense of agency as we go. You can claim that agency with a tiny ritual tomorrow morning, and you do not need a device. Keep a page by your bed and write 2 lines the moment you wake, capturing a verb, a color, and a feeling, such as ran, cobalt, relieved. Those 3 anchors build recall faster than you expect because they catch the emotional thread while it is still warm. Why does any of this feel so real when logic is drowsy and the room is silent? The simplest answer is that the brain is a prediction engine that never fully shuts down, and in sleep it has to build its own input. With the eyes closed and the world quiet, the brain supplies the scene from the inside out. When we say prediction engine, we just mean this. The brain is always guessing what comes next and comparing that guess to incoming signals. In waking life, light, sound, and touch keep the guess honest. During sleep, the guess becomes the stage itself. That is why a hallway made of water and a staircase that becomes a river can feel perfectly ordinary until you wake. There is a stretch of cortex at the back of your head that specializes in building scenes, a kind of backstage set designer for the mind's theater. When that zone is active, vivid dream imagery is more likely, and when it quiets, the pictures fade and the dream turns into a foggy thought. The living brain is not a single light switch. It is a neighborhood where different windows glow at different hours. Notice how your nightly simulator is not just about pictures, but about emotions that color those pictures. The same alley can be a playground one night and a trap the next, because your emotional systems are being tuned while you sleep. The brain seems to press on feelings and memories together, as if flexing a joint to keep it healthy. A common worry arrives here. If dreams are so bizarre, how could they be useful? Bizarre does not mean useless. It can mean flexible. When the brain bends a memory out of shape, it may be teaching you to handle new shapes in the morning. Think about overfitting in plain life terms. If you only ever drive the same quiet street, the first snowy morning will rattle you. Practice in varied conditions makes you steadier. Dreams may be the mind's way of adding variety to your inner test track, so you do not break the first time the world swerves. You might have heard that dreams help store memories, and that is true in a modest, down-to-earth way. Sleep stabilizes what you learned and pares away some clutter. And dreams are the subjective side of that process that you can actually feel. The story you experience is not the goal. It is the surface of the deeper work underneath. There is also a gentler idea that fits many people's experience. Dreams run threat drills, but not only threats, they also run practice for awkward talks, surprise changes, and small embarrassments. The ordinary frictions that shape a day. It is the brain's version of a scrimmage, not the championship game. Yet here is a helpful tension. Many dreams are not dramatic at all. They are about a kitchen sink, a bus stop, a jacket you cannot find. That ordinariness makes sense if the point is to generalize your thinking, because most of life is not a crisis but a stream of small choices. Hold that stream a moment and notice a concrete detail: the cool blue glow of a clock on the nightstand, the dry paper under your fingers as you write 2 lines after waking. These little sensory anchors train your mind to bridge sleep and waking without panic. You are teaching your brain that transitions can be calm. Let us visit nightmares with care, because they feel like the opposite of help. A nightmare is the rehearsal that runs too hot. The body's alarm gets loud while the part of the brain that checks facts is mostly off duty. Our aim is not to erase those dreams, but to loosen their grip. The simplest way to loosen the grip is a reframe you practice while awake. Write a 1-sentence intention at bedtime, such as, "If the chase returns, I will slow down and turn to face it." You are not promising control. You are promising a posture of curiosity. Another small tool is a reality check that you will actually do. Pick one gentle habit, such as looking at your hands and saying, "I am here," or glancing at a light switch and asking, "Does this behave?" In waking life, the switch behaves. In a dream, it often does not, and that gap can wake up your awareness inside the scene. When awareness wakes up inside the dream, we call that lucid dreaming, which simply means you know you are dreaming while still dreaming. You do not need magic for this. You need a tiny spark of recognition and a calm plan. The plan is more about how you will meet the scene than how you will bend it. Here is a quiet marvel from real studies that you can picture clearly. A sleeper who becomes aware can signal with deliberate eye movements, sweeping left and right as a code while instruments record the sleeping brain. Those signals let researchers ask simple questions and receive answers without breaking the dream. That two-way exchange changes the way we think about dreams because it turns the private theater into an interface you can query. You can ask the dream to show you the scene again, but slower, or to hold the detail steady so you can look with less fear. In that space, a nightmare becomes a practice field for courage. We should also talk about the chemistry that hums through sleep. Stress chemicals ebb and flow across the night, and when they are high, the body is ready to spring, even while the eyes are closed. When they settle, the brain can play without flinching, which is why a calmer body often makes for kinder dreams. You can support that calming with small choices in the last hour before bed. Dim the room, lower the soundscape, and trade scrolling for a brief stretch or a slow breath set counted in your head. The point is not perfection. It is turning the volume down so the rehearsal can run. Memory research offers one more gentle lever called targeted memory reactivation, which sounds fancy but feels simple. If you study with a light scent or a soft tone and you use that same cue as you drift to sleep, you can nudge the brain to revisit that material. The cue is not a guarantee, but it is a polite knock on a familiar door. Creativity often arrives through the side door of dreams, not as a full answer, but as a hint that breaks a habit. Think of a melody that jumps a step you always expected, or a sketch that tilts a building to catch late sun in a new way. Dreams shuffle the deck so that old cards touch in new patterns. To catch those patterns, keep your notebook within reach and your room dim enough that you do not fully wake when you write. Use slow strokes and keywords rather than full sentences. You are not composing a novel in the dark. You are laying breadcrumbs you can follow in the morning. You may wonder whether dream content has fixed meanings, and the honest answer is that personal history matters far more than universal symbols. A dog in your dream could be safety, loss, or a neighbor's pet. The symbol sits on your past, not on a chart. The useful question is, what did it feel like, and where does that feeling live in your waking life? Let us return to the claim that dreams help generalize your thinking rather than simply replay the day. Replay would be a perfect copy. Generalization is a remix that tests whether the idea still holds when the colors change and the edges blur. Dreams seem to lean toward remix, which is what resilient thinking needs. Here is a kitchen table. Proof you can run. Learn a small skill in the evening, such as a chord shape or a tongue twister, and then sleep after a quick review. In the morning, you will often find not only that the skill is steadier, but that you can apply it in a slightly new context, which hints at generalization. If you pair that proof with your 2-line journal, you can also watch how the emotional tone of the dream shifts across a week. Some mornings you will write ash gray and tight, and other mornings you will write citrus, bright and loose. Those shifts are the weather of your inner rehearsal space. People sometimes ask whether you can steer a dream toward a creative problem on purpose. The most honest guide is to make a soft request at bedtime, framed as a question without pressure, and then to accept whatever arrives. Pressure makes the mind grip. Curiosity lets it play. A soft request could be, "Show me a kinder way to say this truth," or "Let me see that design from the balcony." When something arrives in the night, meet it the way you would meet a shy animal. No sudden moves, let it come closer. In the morning, translate the hint into one small step you can test. Beware the trap of using dreams to avoid action. Dreams are the rehearsal, not the performance. The value is in how they lower friction when you step into the day. Write one concrete thing you will try before lunch. Then check back at bedtime with a line about how it went. There is a kind of grace in admitting what we do not know yet. We can measure brain waves with electrodes on the scalp and watch eye signals sweep left and right, and we can see heart rate climb during a chase. But the meaning of any single dream belongs to the dreamer. Science can light the stage, you supply the story. That humility does not mean helplessness. It means we choose tools that respect the mystery while still working with the parts we can touch, the page, the breath, the light in the room. With those levers, you can make sleep a kind teacher rather than a roulette wheel. To keep our pact with usefulness, let us gather your nightly practice into a smooth flow that fits real life. Start with the environment in the last hour, dimmer lamps, quieter sounds, cooler air by a small degree. Then add the cue you would enjoy repeating, a mild citrus scent or a faint wind chime. After that, write your one-sentence intention, not a command, but a posture. If the dream turns sharp, "I will breathe and look again," is enough. You are rehearsing a stance more than a plot. When morning arrives, honor the bridge. Stay still for a few breaths. Follow the feeling back to any scene fragments you can catch. Then write those 2 lines with verb, color, and feeling. If a detail sticks, sketch it roughly, even if it is just an arrow for eye movement or a staircase that became a river. Through the day, do your chosen reality check gently and without drama. Hands visible, I am here, or light switch. Does this behave? Are simple and kind. You are building the habit that will carry into a dream without strain. A few myths deserve a soft debunk. You do not need to decode a dictionary of symbols to grow wiser. You need to listen to how your own nervous system tags people, places, and moments. You also do not need to chase constant lucidity. Sometimes the best dream is one you fully live and only later understand. Another myth is that only dramatic dreams matter. The dream about washing dishes while a neighbor hums may hold the quiet truth that routine and connection soothe you better than novelty. Your simulator is not only a fireworks show, it is also a practice room for small kindness. In that light, you can treat nightmares as strong tea that needs diluting, not as poison. A short daytime rehearsal where you picture the same scene and insert one safe element can lower the sting at night. The brain learns safety by example, and you can supply those examples while awake. I want you to also notice the role of the body here, because the line between brain and body is not a hard wall. A heavy late meal, bright screens close to your eyes, and a bedroom that runs hot can all nudge your rehearsal into a rougher register. A small shift toward darkness, cooler air, and less noise is low drama and high yield. If you share your bed, make the practice collaborative instead of fussy. Agree on a lower light level. Invite quiet for the first half hour in bed, and share a smile if you both remember a fragment in the morning. Sleep is a social process as much as a solitary one. Over time, your journal will become a map. You will see the colors that repeat, the verbs that mark stress, and the settings that signal comfort, such as a porch with warm wood, or a library with tall windows and dust motes in a sunbeam. Patterns turn mystery into guidance without crushing wonder. Here is a concrete scene to hold. You wake before dawn to a room washed in dim blue, streetlight shadows laying soft stripes on the wall, a cool edge to the air. Your hand finds the notebook, the paper feels dry and friendly, and you write, ran, cobalt, relieved, even before your eyes fully open. Later that day, a hard moment arrives that would once have spiked your alarm. This time, a small part of you remembers turning to face the chase in last night's dream, and your breath arrives sooner. That is the bridge working between the rehearsal and the day. Some evenings you will feel a playful pull to seed a question. You might ask for a kinder phrase, a clearer angle on a design, or a way to greet a tense meeting with less armor. Frame it as an invitation and let sleep carry it without a grip. The next morning, you may wake with a texture rather than an answer. Maybe it is the amber grain of a wooden table that makes you move a scene outdoors, or the sound of water that reminds you to soften a conversation. Texture is information when you learn to read it. If a dream startles you awake, meet yourself the way you would meet a friend in that state. Sit up, plant both feet, sip water, and say out loud one calm sentence that fits the scene, such as, I am here and the room is safe. Then jot a line about what the dream was trying to train. Over weeks, the aim is not perfect. Sleep or a gallery of cinematic dreams, the aim is a steadier nervous system that trusts the night to do good work, and a daytime self that uses those rehearsals to move with more skill. A little discipline at the edges unlocks a great deal in the middle. Before we close, hold the image of two-way communication. One more time, because it captures the spirit of the whole practice. A sleeping person sweeps their eyes left and right in a pattern to answer a question, while the back of the brain lights with scene building and the heart keeps night rhythm. The dream is not a sealed vault. It is a door you can open with respect. That respect means you do not force, you invite. You do not wrench control. You practice posture. A dream is a rehearsal for being the kind of person who can turn, look, and choose. Tonight, dim the lamps a little earlier and set out your notebook. Add the cue you enjoy. Write the one-sentence intention and choose your gentle reality check. In the morning, write 2 lines and smile at whatever scrap you caught from the private world your brain built. If you keep that light touch, you will find that your nightly simulator does not just mirror your life, it shapes it. The day teaches the night, and the night returns the favor with practice you did not know you needed. Let us treat that exchange as a quiet craft you can learn. You have everything you need to begin. A calmer room, a page and pen, a sentence of intention, and a breath that meets the moment. The rest is curiosity and patience, which are the best teachers I know. The sleeping night unfolds in loops, and each loop brings a slightly different workshop for the brain to use. Early in the night, the scenes are thinner and the body settles. Later in the night, the scenes brighten and the stories stretch. You can work with that by placing your gentle intention closer to dawn, when vividness tends to rise. During the first cycles, the body focuses on repair and on stitching daytime learning into a sturdier fabric. Rapid bursts of brain activity stitch like tiny tailoring points across cortex and deep memory structures, making daytime traces harder to smudge. The dream you notice then may be brief, a tone more than a tale. Later, when eye movements begin to sweep left and right and muscle tone loosens, the inner theater warms to full glow. The brain's scene builder leans forward and emotion systems offer stronger colors. This is when your rehearsal often turns cinematic and your chance to meet it with calm grows. The phrase generalization can sound abstract, so let us bring it to the kitchen table again. A child who only ever practices spelling with the same list is brittle on a fresh list, but a child who plays with letters can handle surprises. Dreams make your mind that second child, steady when the list changes. You can feel generalization at work when a dream swaps a person's face but keeps their role in your life. The neighbor becomes a classmate or a cousin, yet the same trust or tension flows through the scene. Your brain is training on the role, not the costume. Another sign is spatial drift that still preserves purpose. You walk through your childhood hallway and exit into your current office, but you are still searching for the same misplaced folder. That slip is the mind testing the rule across different rooms. People sometimes worry that facing a nightmare gives the nightmare more power, but the opposite is usually true when you change how you stand in it. A gentle turn toward the fear while keeping your breathing slow teaches the alarm to dial down. The body learns that contact does not equal danger. That lesson has a daytime twin called exposure with kindness. It just means you visit the thing that rattles you for a short, safe moment with a steady breath and a quick step back to comfort. Doing this while awake can soften the same theme at night. The journal supports this by capturing not only what happened, but how your body felt in the scene. Words like heavy, buzzy, or warm mark a trail. your nervous system recognizes faster than a plot summary. Over weeks, you can notice which feelings resolve and which ask for more attention. Consider also the social fabric of dreams. Because other people occupy a large share of their rooms, your brain practices greetings, refusals, apologies, and exits, rehearsing language and tone inside the safety of an imagined encounter. That practice can shave rough edges off a real talk tomorrow. Language itself gets a night shift in this simulator. Phrases you spoke in haste can echo back with a slower tempo, showing an extra beat where you could breathe. In the morning, that extra beat is still available to you if you remember it. Music behaves this way too. A chord you hammered during practice can return softened, and the next day your fingers take a kinder path between notes. Your inner rehearsal did not change the physics of the instrument. It changed the tension in your hands. Some nights, the simulator whispers practical warnings in a low-key register. You dream of missing the train because you kept repacking your bag, and the feeling is not doom, but gentle urgency to simplify. That nudge is easy to use before lunch. On other nights, the simulator just plays with space and light for the joy of it. Windows open onto landscapes that carry no task at all, but leave you calmer when you wake. Calm itself is useful training because it widens your choices during the day. To widen that calm, treat your bedroom as a friendly cave rather than a storage closet. Clear the floor near the bed. Choose one pleasing scent and aim for darkness that still lets you see outlines without a strain. Your nervous system reads that room as permission to release. Temperature matters in a simple, physical way. Cooler air and breathable bedding keep the body from sending heat alarms that yank you upward through lighter sleep. A quieter thermostat makes for steadier rehearsal loops. Light matters even more because it sets the clock in your head. Bright light early in the day and dimmer light in the last hour. Teach your brain when to be alert and when to let the simulator start quietly. Screens close to the eyes work against that lesson, so hold them at a distance or choose audio instead. If you want to try a more intentional rehearsal late in the night, there is a gentle practice many people like. Set a soft wake for the early morning. Sit up for a few minutes to write your intention and reality check, then lie back down with the same cue you used while studying. Vivid dreams often greet that return to sleep. When you do become aware inside a dream, keep your first move small and kind. Rub your hands, name the scene quietly, and breathe in a slow count to 4 and out a slow count to 6. Those anchors stabilize the frame without snapping it. Steering comes later if it is needed at all. You can simply request, "Slower please," or ask the scene to hold a detail steady long enough to learn what it carries. Curiosity is a better pilot than force. Many people ask for creative help here, and a fair way to proceed is to define a boundary. Invite the dream to show you a relationship or a pattern rather than a complete solution, then promise to build the solution while awake. Respect keeps the collaboration healthy. Children's dreams remind us that play is the core of this whole system. They turn cardboard boxes into castles without permission, and their sleep continues that freedom. Adults can relearn this by valuing playful scenes instead of dismissing them as fluff. Older adults often report fewer intense chase dreams and more social or quiet practical scenes. The simulator seems to tilt toward maintenance and meaning as the decades pass. That tilt is not a loss, it is a graceful rebalancing of effort. culture weaves threads into dreams too. If your family treats dreams as morning conversation, recall improves and fear tends to shrink because meaning is shared and normalized. If your family treats dreams as secrets, recall can wither from simple neglect. This means you can raise dream literacy in your home, the same way you raise book literacy. Share a short fragment at breakfast without dramatizing it. Listen for the feeling tone and thank the speaker. A small ritual builds a strong habit. People sometimes carry heavy dreams connected to real past injuries, and kindness matters most here. Treat yourself as you would a friend who just ran a hard race at night. Lower the day's demands a notch, and pick gentler tasks for the first hours. Skill grows faster when the body is not bracing. If dreams begin to disrupt safety for you or for someone nearby, speak with a clinician who understands sleep. A professional can separate benign rehearsal energy from medical conditions that need care, such as acting out movements during sleep or long stretches of breath. Disruption. There is no shame in asking for help. It is smart stewardship of the night. Let us return to targeted memory reactivation with a bit more texture, because it is a clever doorway. During study, pair the material with a modest cue you enjoy, such as a citrus scent or a soft chime. At bedtime, reintroduce the same cue as you drift, and later in the night when you wake briefly, repeat it once more before returning to sleep. The idea is that the cue pulls on the same network the study activated, coaxing the brain to revisit and strengthen it. You will not feel the strengthening directly. What you will feel are related scenes or a warmth around the topic in the morning. That is the subjective side of a deeper change. You can test the effect with simple material, such as vocabulary or finger patterns on a musical instrument. Keep the tone light, so pressure does not harden into insomnia. The cue should be a friendly bell, not a drill siren. Many of us carry small superstitions about dreams without realizing it. We may believe that a particular symbol always means the same thing, or that a scary dream predicts bad luck. You can replace those superstitions with direct observation in your journal and watch the fear evaporate. Direct observation looks like this. Write the fragment, write the feeling, write one line about what might have trained last night. Leave it at that. During the day, take one small action that answers the training theme, and at night, note how the feeling changes. Over several weeks, you will gather a private data set that belongs to your life rather than to a book of symbols. You will see that the same image can carry different meanings depending on what your nervous system is working on. That discovery gives you calm leverage. Calm leverage is the point, because it turns the dream from a mystery that pushes you around into a partner that you can meet. You are not decoding secret messages. You are learning how your own rehearsal room runs. Once you see the levers, you stop pulling the fire alarm for every flicker of strange light. The rehearsal room also trims excess. During sleep, your brain quietly prunes some unused pathways, a gardener snipping back the overgrowth so that sunlight reaches the branches that matter. The dream on the surface might be a wandering walk while the pruning happens below. On nights when stress runs high, expect more jagged edges in your scenes. That is not failure. It is a useful reading of your current load. Lower the input to your senses before bedtime, and you lower the jaggedness later. Food and drink. Touch this system in ways you can feel. Heavy meals close to bed pull blood flow to the gut and ask the body to work while you are trying to rest. Stimulants can keep the inner narrator chatty. Alcohol can fragment the second half of the night. Treat the last hour as a gentle coast. Movement during the day helps the night become kinder. A walk outside anchors your clock with natural light, and a bit of afternoon exertion lifts pressure that might otherwise leak into dreams as frustration. The body writes tomorrow's sleep during today's daylight. Gratitude practices sound sentimental until you test them for a week and feel the result, ending the evening by naming 3 small, honest gratitudes. Tilts the simulator towards safety and connection. The scene builder draws from that shelf when it reaches for props. If you live with noise you cannot fully control, make a friendly sound curtain. Choose a constant soft source, such as a fan or a quiet speaker with low rain. Set to a volume you stop noticing and keep it steady across the night. Consistency beats volume for calm. Light pollution has a similar fix. Thicker curtains or a simple sleep mask reduce the stray glow that tells the body to be alert. A darker cave makes for a stronger rehearsal. If your nights are very short, know that even small repairs help. A 15-minute midday rest with closed eyes or a 10-minute early evening walk can soften the edges of the next dream cycle. You are building runway for the next landing. Couples can align these habits without turning the bedroom into a lab. Agree on one cue you both tolerate, one shared dimming time, and a short morning check-in where each shares a single word about the night. Cooperation multiplies the benefit. For creative teams, a shared dream wall can be playful and safe. Post anonymous fragments that carry texture rather than plot. Then, during the day, use those textures as prompts for sketches, melodies, or lines of dialogue. The simulator becomes a quiet collaborator instead of a private silo. Technology can help if used with restraint. A simple voice recorder by the bed lets you capture a line without full wakefulness, but keep the screen off and the light low. The principle is to harvest without startling the system. Dreams sometimes revisit important places you no longer see, and that is a kindness. A grandparent's kitchen, a school gym with waxed wood, a bus route through a certain part of town return to remind you that identity is built from rooms as much as from words. Honor the visit and carry one warm detail into your day. When grief is fresh, the simulator often brings the lost person back for a while. These visits can be soothing or sharp, and both are part of how the mind learns to carry love without constant ache. Write the feeling, not only the scene, and let it change week by week. There is a gentle boundary between rehearsal and rumination. Rehearsal prepares you to move. Rumination freezes you while you replay. If you notice the freeze, set a small body task for the morning and make the bed your ally, not your debate hall. A small body task could be watering a plant, opening a window to taste the air, or doing a simple stretch while naming the day of the week. These concrete moves switch the brain from looping to doing. Doing is the bridge out of the simulator into the street. If you enjoy numbers, you can track the basics without turning sleep into a contest. Jot bedtime, first wake time, and a single word about dream tone. Trends matter more than any single night. Artistic training pairs well with this approach because art is the daylight cousin of dreaming. Painters, musicians, writers, and designers can treat dreams as a sunrise sketchbook and respectfully transform fragments into drafts. By evening, return favors. by feeding the simulator with varied, beautiful input. Varied input means city streets and forest paths, conversations with elders and toddlers, silence and music, paper books and field notes. The brain will draw from whatever you give it, so give it abundance without overload. Curate like a gardener, not a hoarder. Sometimes the most practical dream tool is forgiveness, and it works in both directions. You can forgive the dream for scaring you, and you can forgive yourself for carrying that fear into breakfast. Forgiveness reduces wasted friction and returns energy to learning. Imagination exercises during the day can make dreams more vivid at night in a friendly way. Spend 60 seconds with eyes closed, building a simple scene with 3 textures and 2 sounds. Then open your eyes and name one color you saw inside. You are training the same scene builder that paints the dream. If you want to grow lucid moments without strain, pair your reality check with a compassion check. Each time you look at your hands and say, "I am here," add a tiny kindness toward the nearest person or toward yourself. Awareness and kindness together. Travel more safely into the night. For people who fear losing control, remember that control is not the goal. The goal is choice, and choice grows from steady attention rather than from tense command. Dreams become friendlier when you ask for choices instead of dominance. The science will continue to improve, with finer maps of the brain regions that generate images and guide emotion during sleep. Laboratory studies already show that we can nudge, question, and sometimes steady a dream without breaking it. That alone is enough to turn fear into curiosity for most of us. Curiosity is the clean fuel for this practice. It asks, "What is the training here?" rather than, "Why is this so strange?" And it accepts partial answers while still making a small move. The simulator rewards that stance with gentler, more informative nights. This brings us back to tonight's plan you can actually use. Dimming the lights a touch early, shaping a calmer soundscape, writing one posture sentence, placing your cue, and giving yourself permission to wake kindly are not grand acts. They are small hinges that turn a large door. When morning comes, honor your 2-line pact, even if you remember almost nothing. A single word and a color, such as driftwood and teal, still count as keeping the promise. Kept promises train memory better than perfect recall once a week. With that habit in place, you will find that your inner rehearsal grows more cooperative. Scenes linger just long enough to mark. Emotions soften a notch faster, and ideas arrive with edges you can hold. The private world your brain builds at night becomes a gentle teacher for your day.